The subway, packed with people, suddenly exploded. But only one person was injured, and the reason the casualties were so low was all thanks to me. I was the only one who discovered the bomb and managed to stop the train in time. The White House soon launched an investigation. They found out that the FBI deputy director was also involved. However, just as they were preparing to act, the deputy director was suddenly assassinated. Two veteran agents involved in the investigation were also killed in their homes. The only survivor was the agent's niece, Rose. The White House brought Rose in for questioning, but she refused to say anything. She said her aunt told her on her deathbed that there was a mole inside the White House. Rose was taken to a government-provided safe hotel, but soon, two killers began chasing her. Fortunately, I arrived just in time and saved her life. According to her aunt's dying words, Rose and I found evidence left by her uncle in a hidden cabin, but the files were encrypted, and we couldn't open them. At that moment, my female boss gave me a new order. She told me to bring Rose and the hard drive back. Rose didn't trust my boss. She decided to test her true intentions. I arranged to meet with my boss the next morning at 10 a.m. to see if she was really honest. So, we decided to hide outdoors for the night. If we could meet safely, that would mean my boss was trustworthy. After all, I had called my boss's personal phone. Unless she knew our location, there's no way anyone could find us early. The night passed, and the scheduled time arrived. Just as I was about to leave, I suddenly heard a shout coming from deep in the woods. What? A female tourist hobbled toward the cabin, desperately calling for help. I was suspicious because this place was far from the crowds. There's no way a tourist could get lost here. When no one responded, the woman opened the cabin door. Meanwhile, another man quietly circled behind. He threw a grenade. Rose immediately recognized that the man was the killer who had murdered her family. This made me start to question whether my boss was truly the mole. To get to the truth, I decided to hide by the roadside. I would wait for the killer's vehicle. I got the license plate and handed it to a police friend for investigation. We began to plan our next steps. The problem was, if my boss was indeed a mole, returning to the White House would be a trap, but to decrypt the data on the hard drive, we had to rely on the NSA's supercomputer. How could we ensure safety while decrypting the data? Soon, I returned to the White House. I told my boss that Rose had escaped and only brought back the hard drive. She didn't suspect me. She immediately instructed the tech department to start decrypting it. My boss said it would take 3 hours to decrypt. She told me to rest, but I insisted on staying and working. I sat by the phone, glancing at the clock on the wall occasionally. Suddenly, the phone rang. It was Rose. I immediately realized that the operation had begun. I hurried to find my boss in the control room. I told her that Rose wanted to talk to me, and the supercomputer's decryption time was now down to the last 5 minutes. While my boss was talking to Rose, I quietly entered the control room. I took my boss's access card and inserted a wireless network card. Soon, Rose took control of the supercomputer in the control room through a laptop in the restaurant. The decryption was just finished. Rose kept my boss occupied with various topics while copying the files onto her own hard drive. The progress bar was almost done. At that moment, 2 police officers entered. This scared Rose so much that she hung up the phone. I also received a message from Rose, indicating the operation was canceled. I quickly restored the main system state. After hanging up the phone, my boss came to the control room. She noticed that the access card was missing and turned back. I took the stairs and rushed back to my workstation first. She pretended not to have traced the exact location. Instead, she asked my boss if she heard any strange noises. This delayed her, which allowed Rose to successfully finish copying the files, and she managed to restore the supercomputer to its original state. When my boss returned to the control room, she wanted to check the decrypted files. She found the decrypted files were gone. She thought the hard drive wasn't properly inserted and started checking the connections. Then, she found the wireless network card I had forgotten to take. This nearly exposed all my plan.